Hey everybody, Craig Hester here with R2AWatches.com, and thank you for joining us today on the next chapter in the book that we're building of videos. Let's see how much I can mix some metaphors here. Of videos about the watches that are at R2AWatches.com. And today we are talking about the Energia from Vostok-Europe. By the way, one of my favorite watches of all time and absolutely my favorite Vostok-Europe. If you are watching this on YouTube, you want to be sure and hit like and subscribe. We're updating videos all the time now, and you want to stay right on top of what we're doing here at R2AWatches.com. And if you're watching this on Facebook, you want to join the private group Vostok-Europe Timepieces, which is where all the great fans of our watches get together, have a good time talking about our watches, and learn more. And it's where you get the first and most up-to-date information. In fact, we do a live show there every Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, which has information that's only available to our special customers that join us on that group. Like I said, today we are talking about the Energia from Vostok-Europe, and I love talking about the Energia. I could talk about this watch all day long. In fact, today I am surrounded by Energias. Let's see, I have at least 4 sitting here on the table, and at least 3 boxes of them. So you could tell I really don't like talking about the Energia because, you know, I mean, why would I have so much around here about it? Anyway, I really do like this watch for so many reasons, and I'm going to get into that. If you're not familiar with Vostok-Europe, they are a boutique brand based in Vilnius, Lithuania. They've been around for about 15 years. Every watch is 100% designed and hand-assembled there in Lithuania. I like to say that they start with a blank piece of paper, or more accurately, a blank computer screen, and they finish with a completed watch. They do so much for a boutique brand, the kinds of things that usually are only the purview of much larger brands in Vostok-Europe. If you want to learn more about them, we have a lot on our blog at R2AWatches.com, or the best place is our YouTube channel, R2A Watches, to learn more. Like I said, today we are talking about the Energia, or Energia. It is named after the world's largest rocket system. It is the rocket that was designed to put the Buran space shuttle into space. Buran, meaning snowstorm in Russian, was the Russian space shuttle system, and this is the rocket system that was used to put it into space, the world's largest and most powerful rocket system ever built. And that is the inspiration for this for this watch, and an earlier version of this watch, the Energia. This is the Energia 2. Now, the way that Vostok-Europe goes about designing watches is a little bit different than a lot of watches when you're talking about watches that are built around an inspiration. A lot of times you see more direct implications of the inspiration right in the watch. For instance, you might see some like cockpit instrumentation on the dial, or you'll see a shape that is clearly the exact shape of something. Costa, who's the designer at Vostok-Europe, he tends to take more of a minimalistic approach. He grabs small elements of the shape or the feel that give him an idea, and then he makes something unique out of that idea. In this case, you can actually see like the bump outs on the side of the watch are similar to how the shapes are on the booster rockets and so forth. So it's not a direct one-to-one inspiration. So really it's more about a feel with the Energia watch. Now, part of today's presentation is going to be to talk further about the bracelet that just came out and to go over the watch in general. And this is the first time that we will have covered the A279, which is the watch right here with the orange and blue. And then I got to look at the SKU number on the other one. It is, I haven't learned the new ones as well. It is the A538 is the other one we're talking about. And this is the one with the power reserve indicator, which is the YM series of movements from Seiko. So those are the 2 that we were talking about today. This is going to be a little longer probably than most of our videos because I am going to go into detail on both of these watches. First thing I'm going to do, like I like to do, and I'm going to focus on the A279 for this, if for no other reason, I love the color combination on the A279 personally, and I think it is arguably, outside of maybe the bronze, the most popular of the Energias that has been built. I think it probably is the most popular. Anyway, I'm going to quickly go through the specs, and I like to do it with the caliper so you can see that we're talking about the size right here in front of us and not from my memory. We are looking at about a 48 millimeter case. It is roughly 17 millimeters thick. So again, this is a big aggressive timepiece, which is not surprising for a watch that is designed and inspired by the world's largest rocket system. This is a 30 ATM timepiece. That means that it is designed to be even greater than the level of water resistance that is required for a watch to be considered a professional grade dive piece, dive quality watch. It has the unidirectional rotating bezel for elapsed time function. It has Tritium Tube technology, which gives you that constant illumination. These are laser sealed glass tubes that are on the dial that give you constant illumination. You do not have to charge them up like you do Super Luminova. Let's see some of the other basics. It is a screw-in crown. It is an exhibition case back. Now, the blue and orange has the NH35, the ubiquitous NH35 movement. That is the workhorse movement from Seiko. You just can't go wrong with it. It just goes and goes and goes. It's like the Energizer Bunny of movements. And then again, you have the YM series in the other one that we're going to talk about today. Now, before I get further into the watch itself, I'm kind of debating here, going back and forth as which thing to talk about first. In terms of new information and what is probably going to be most exciting for people who are just learning about Energias or have been fans of Energia for a while and been waiting for one, we did just recently finally come out with a bracelet for the Energia, and this is one heck of a bracelet. Now, let me be clear that you don't have to get the watch on the bracelet. It actually is available simply with leather and also a silicone strap. But here at R2A Watches, if you pick up the bracelet package on any of the Energias, which right now is only the stainless versions, if you pick up the bracelet package, you will also get the leather and the silicone with it. This is one heck of a bracelet. It really fits the overall theme of this watch so much. I like to say that it looks like somebody reached in to a big piece of working machinery and pulled out one of the chains from inside that machinery and converted it into a bracelet. That is how big and aggressive this is. And one thing I want to point out, if you prefer light watches, if you prefer something that's not heavy on the wrist, you do not want to get the Energia on a bracelet, because this is a big, heavy-duty watch that is going to be very, very felt on your wrist. You are not going to miss that you're wearing this watch. In fact, I joke that you could pull this off and probably use it as for self-defense. That's how heavy and big and aggressive this is. One of the most wonderful aspects of this watch is something that Vostok-Europe created, specifically designed for this, which is, instead of micro adjustments, which, by the way, I do want to point out, which is something one of our customers pointed out to us the other day, there are actually micro adjustment spots on this particular bracelet. However, they do not function like micro adjustment normally does because of the construction of the bracelet. For micro adjustment, you're going to use this system that Vostok-Europe created for this bracelet, where you actually slide the bracelet. There's this sliding, if I push the right pushers, I can show you. It slides back and forth, and it holds in position after you let it go. So what's really cool about that is you don't have to release a pressure pin. You don't have to take the bracelet apart to do micro adjustments. You just slide this into the position you want, and then you have it at the micro level, meaning that you don't have it. It has less width than if you removed one of the links from the bracelet, which of course you can also remove links to get it down to that exact fit that you want. Deployant clasp. Another great thing about this sliding micro adjustments is Vostok-Europe designed this specifically so if you're putting the watch, I'm going to pull back here and say, if you're putting the watch on and you're wearing a wetsuit or any kind of major sporting equipment and you want to put this on, and there's not enough, which would still be a lot big because this is a generous bracelet, but let's say there's not enough when you open the deployant, you can actually use the slider then to put it on over something like a wetsuit or other equipment, and you don't have to take the suit off or finagle or whatever to get it on there. You just use that slider, slide it back in place, boom, you've got the watch on. So it is 100% surgical grade stainless steel. As I like to say, that's easy for me to say, obviously. Surgical grade stainless steel throughout on this bracelet. There is nothing folded. There is nothing hollow. There couldn't be to hold such an amazing watch. Now, again, the Energia is from the Dive Watch collection of Vostok-Europe. These are the high-end, aggressive sport timepieces that Vostok-Europe builds. Energia is up there in the class with the Luna Code 2 is another example. The Caspian Sea Monster, the new Expedition Underground Everest. All of these are in the top tier of the dive and sport watches that Vostok-Europe creates. Now, why are they top tier? Well, first of all, they're all going to have, the ones we're talking about, and every Energia is going to have Tritium Tube technology. Tritium Tube technology gives you the constant illumination. And one of the things that Vostok-Europe does is they really have a lot of ingenious ways to maximize the amount of illumination that they get out of Tritium Tubes. In the case of the Energia, all of them are the same, but I'm going to actually show you the dial from the bronze Energia because we happen to have taken apart a bronze Energia to be able to show this to you. The Tritium tubes are actually placed in these V-shaped reflectors. Now, Tritium is and there's a lot of videos at R2A Watches, YouTube channel where you can learn more about tritium. I'm not going to go into great detail because there's so much else I'm talking about in this video today. But tritium tubes are laser sealed glass tubes made by a company called MB Microtech out of Switzerland. And in those tubes is a substance called tritium, and there's also luminous material in there. And the tritium constantly illuminates the luminous material all the time so that it doesn't matter. You could throw this watch in a drawer for 2 years. You pull it back out, it's still going to glow. It doesn't matter whether you're in low light conditions, whether you're in dark conditions. Even if you're in daylight, it's still glowing. And it really is great for sports because you don't have to worry, like with Superluminova, how always, when you charge up Superluminova, even in bright sunlight or even with a UV light, it's going to fade over time. With tritium tubes, you don't have that issue. So that is part of why this is in the exclusive elite class of the top of the line Vostok-Europe dive watches, because tritium tubes are something that are coveted by divers and other sports, other people who are into sports, whether they be extreme sports or what have you, because of the fact that it has a constant illumination. Another thing that makes the Energia special is this is the first tritium watch by Vostok-Europe that actually has a tritium tube outside of the dial encasement. Tritium has to be enclosed in some way. It can't be exposed outside of the watch. So they created a sapphire encased crystal that actually has a tritium dot inside it. So you don't have Superluminova on the bezel and then not have it on the dial. That allows you to keep track of the elapsed time with the sapphire encased tritium on there. Now, another thing that I like to point out, because we have just shown you what it looks like on the bracelet, is how beautiful this watch looks on the leather strap. And it's important to note that even though this is a split lug strap, these little circles, I'm going to pull one out here and show it to you. These little circles that are in there are actually not attached to the case. And that's why when you look at the bracelet, you can see that there's one center circle when the bracelet is on, and there's two when the leather strap is on. What's really cool about that system and why I like it so much is sometimes people will have a little bit of approach avoidance in terms of picking up a split lug strap because of the concern, if I can't get the original manufacturer's equipment again, I can't get a strap that's going to fit the watch, because of course it's a quite unusual configuration, and every split lug strap is a little bit different. Vostok-Europe settled that issue in such an ingenious way because these little circles, for want of a better way of putting it, little wheels, little whatever you want to call them, they are not actually attached to the case of the watch. So you can actually put what you might more accurately describe as a normal strap on here, and I've seen people do it. Again, Vostok-Europe Timepieces, a great group on a great group on Facebook. People do this all the time. They show custom straps that they had made by the strap lord, by the way, Konstantin Huzar, who's building straps for our Iron Wolf for Pramsius. Shout out to Konstantin, that don't have these little circles in there and allow you to have what would be considered a more standard strap in there. So that's one of the really cool features about the Energia as well. Let's see, what else do I want to hit on? I do want to show you a little bit about the quality of the watch. I didn't mention earlier, it is a K1 mineral crystal. I've got one buried in here somewhere, and if I can't find it this time, we will talk about it next time. There we go. This is a K1 mineral crystal on this watch. K1 is actually the Gorilla Glass system, which gives you the best of both worlds because it lands right in the middle of the Mohse scale between sapphire and mineral. So it gives you nearly the shatter resistance of mineral and nearly the scratch resistance of sapphire. Now look at this crystal. This happens to be a crystal from an from an Expedition North Pole, but all of the high quality dive watches have these super thick, this is 3.5 millimeters thick. Some bracelets, most bracelets aren't even that thick, have these super thick crystals, which are just so solidly built and practically impossible to shatter. Another quick thing to show you is the interior case on this is almost 6 millimeters thick. Now again, this is the bronze, but it's going to be the same case on the stainless steel, just to show you the level of quality. It's just off the hook. And then I also like to show you, which definitely makes it where this bracelet works properly, this is the bar that holds the bracelet or the strap in. Holy nuggets, what an unbelievable, if this doesn't show you the quality of construction of a Vostok-Europe, I don't know what will. If you're used to the simple pressure pins or spring bars that are on regular watches, look at this sucker. It is unbelievable. So I didn't really get into the YM movements here. There are other videos where we talk about the power reserve and how that works on the YM movement, where you can get a little more detail about the black and red here. The main thing is that a power reserve gives you basically like a fuel gauge. If you look up here, you can see as I'm winding it, and it shows you how much time there is left before the watch is going to stop working. So that is the Energia on a bracelet, the 8279, and the new Power Reserve version on the new bracelet. Comes with leather, comes with silicone. I didn't even get into the packaging. My name's Craig Hester. This is R2AWatches.com. Watch some more of our videos about the Energia, and hey, keep watching.